Here we're going to expand on the different ways you can add smart objects to your Photoshop file, and that includes copying them from Illustrator files as well as linking objects such as Illustrator files, PDFs, and image files. So just to get started, I am going to go into Illustrator and show you what you have to do to save a file so that it will be compatible as a smart object. So I have this, basic design file here. I'm going to save as Command-Shift-S, and I'll save this on the desktop. And when I go to click save, it's going to launch a dialog box that has different options. Now this option here, create PDF compatible, is the most important. If that is checked, then you will be able to view it. So I'm going to create a file where that is checked and that is viewable. And conversely, I'm going to save another copy of this and not check that top one, just so you understand how it works. So when I go to look at files here, and on the desktop, I can see this first file that I created with PDF compatible. I can preview it. When I press spacebar, it previews. And then this other file, which I did not check that PDF compatible box, and you can see it just has like this. This is an Adobe Illustrator file. It was saved without PDF content, so you can't preview it here. And then again, I'll show you when you go into Photoshop and try to link that. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to link a file as a smart object. So file, place linked, and then you navigate to those files. And again, if I place this file that has PDF compatibility, place, and there's always crop to options. I just leave it on the default for this purpose. But when we get deeper into this, there's benefits to choosing different cropping options. But for now, I'm just going to leave it on the default. Hit OK, and you can see it brings it in there. The transform is always live when you're bringing in a smart object, so you could just hit enter or return to apply it. And then here you go, you have the smart object. It's linked. You see there's a link here. Again, just kind of zoom in on this, see this little link here. Whereas if I had copied all this, and I'm going to just do that now, Command A to select everything, Command C to copy, and then I'm going to Command V, paste it in. We all are familiar with this dialog box to paste. Smart object is the one we're looking for, and again, unless it's an object that I want to keep in my library that I'm going to use on multiple files, I'd keep this unchecked for many reasons. And again, same thing, it will paste it in the transform, and I can hit return or enter to place it or apply that change. And then again, you can see the difference here. Copying this as a vector smart object, that is what the icon looks like. So already two different smart objects. Now I'm going to try to link that file that didn't have the PDF compatibility. So file, place linked, and then I'm going to go here. And again, already we can't preview it, so that's a problem. And it's basically going to do the exact same thing when I bring it in. It's just going to show these 8 paragraphs rather. I hit OK. And so this is what happens if you don't save it as a PDF compatible file. You will not be able to link it as a smart object with visibility. So I'm just going to hit escape and get rid of that. So already I've shown you two ways to bring smart objects in. One to copy directly from Illustrator, and one to link the file with PDF compatibility. And to show you the difference between those, when I double click this vector smart object, it still maintains all the information. And it in fact even maintains the layers, everything that I copied, but it is embedded into a vector smart object that is already automatically embedded into this Photoshop file. Okay, and I'm going to close this now because I saved that after I created the PDF compatible version, but I'm going to double click this link and it's going to open up the original file that I saved with the PDF compatibility. Okay, now they both work the same way. If I go to change a color in them, or if I change anything about them, when I save it, it will save in those respective smart objects. Okay, so that's saved here, and then I'm going to open this one up. And again, this was the vector smart object, and I'm just going to change this background and save this. And again, so you can see the two different smart objects brought into this file two different ways. yet they act kind of the same. Okay, so that's two different ways, but linking is linking, so it doesn't matter what the file format type is. If I go to File, Place Linked, and then I have these other images kind of preset in here, I can pick this PNG file, for example, and that's another way to link it. Okay, so now instead of a Illustrator file, if I double click this link, it's just going to open up that PNG file instead. Okay, so you can see up here it launches the PNG, but they all act as smart objects. So when you double click on the thumbnail here, it will open up that smart object. And the last thing I'll do is just import a PDF. So I'm going to go to File, Place Linked, and import a PDF just to show another version of a link. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, just keep in mind that when you link a PNG or a PDF, you're going to want to link something that doesn't have like die lines if that's what you're trying to achieve, because basically those files you won't be able to edit, right? So the advantage of linking a PNG or a PDF is that if you are creating like multiple SKUs and you want to, keep updating like a bunch of different designs or a bunch of different SKUs on one mockup, then you can just flip out PNGs really quick or flip out PDFs really quick, but you can't edit those when you relaunch them. Okay, so all that is doing is just making the smart object so it's easy to change the graphics. Whereas when you're creating a vector smart object or you're linking an Illustrator file, then you can actually go in and change those files. Okay, so again, I have this PDF linked, but when I go to open it, it's just going to open that PDF in Acrobat. Now, if you do have the PDF that is, or if you have a PDF that is editable in Illustrator, you can navigate to that in your Finder and make changes there, and it will update, but you can't double click on this and launch it in Illustrator.